Well, hello there. We're back doing some arma stuff. Working on a new update for... A new capital ship module. You have already probably seen the teasers that I've sent out in my Discord earlier on. But now I have progressed quite a bit further. In the foreground, you see the CIS landing craft sitting there from 3AS. You see a Providence and a Venator rotating in the background. So yeah, a lot of things have happened in the few days between. So I have now set it up in such a way where ships can follow waypoints properly. So you can set up a waypoint route, a patrol route. For example, let's take the Diamond class ship, and we are going to set up a waypoint. And now it starts moving, and it will keep moving on its own. I've given it a cycle waypoint, so it will continuously move around. So this is what I want to do when I have other ships in there, civilian ships in particular. So civilian ships can fly around and populate the world nicely. So you have some movement overhead. As you can see right now, I have a Providence, a Venator, an Acclimator, a landing craft or two sitting here, a Diamond class, and another landing craft sitting on the ground right here. So a different feature that I've been working on is also making it, or adding the ability for a landing craft to land. Because back in the day, in Slavish to Press Textures, we had a very old we had a very old landing model that you could place down, and it would drop like a module down to the ground and land at the correct position. However, the unfortunate part was that it would create a landing craft per player on the server, and most of those landing craft would then appear in debug corner, and only one would appear on the module or on the position where you want the lander to appear. So I don't want to use that mod anymore because it is old. Maybe it's not old, but the model of that landing craft is much less nice. Isn't as nice as the one from 3S. You can see the turret sitting off to the left, but we will not worry about the turret. The turret and stuff I still have to change, but the landing craft. As you can see, the doors on it are open. When you spawn a capital ship, you can select the landing craft. The landing craft by default will then jump into the area directly onto the position where you drop the module. It will do so with its doors closed. The default height is 500 meters, and I have set it up where it can then land to the ground. About 20-25 meters above the ground, the doors actually start opening up, and as soon as it lands, the doors are fully opened. So, for example, you can see this landing craft sitting right here. Doors are closed. How do we make it that the ship goes down to the ground? First of all, we will select which one we want to target. Mind you, it's still in Dutch. And then we place the module where we want it to land. The module will stay around the logic entity with an arrow attached to it, and you can rotate this with holding down shift, and then the ship will point in this direction. So when I press enter now, the module and arrow disappears, the hint disappears, and the landing craft above will start rotating and turning towards the location of the module. Once it has arrived at the module, it will rotate in the correct direction that the arrow was pointing in, and then it will start lowering to the ground. As you can see, like this. Now, given if the landing craft is 500 meters above the ground, it will take not that long for it to land. But if you are 5 kilometers up, then yes, it can take quite a while for it to land. As you can see, well, maybe it's not 25 meters, maybe it's about 50 meters, but as you can see, doors open up and the landing craft lands onto the ground, and there we go. Now it sits here. Now, with any other capital ship, you can give a waypoint and the ship will listen to it. Before, I had the issue as well where the landing craft, even though it was sitting on the ground, landed, I could give it a waypoint and it would move. Right now, if I give this thing a waypoint, it will not move. Now, in fact, it will move once we give it the takeoff command. Because we can give it the takeoff command ourselves. And we can say, okay, I want to climb to 500 meters or any other altitude given. In this case, we will use 500 meters. Doors will close. And it will start taking off. It will turn into the direction of the last given waypoint. And it will then fly towards the waypoint, while also still raising its altitude to 500 meters. Now let's grab this one and move it out of the way a little bit. Now I want to say, okay, this has to jump away, right? We can give the engage hyperdrive module to any of the ships, and then the ship will jump away and delete itself. So this is how you can make a landing craft appear out of thin air, basically. Yeah, and then you can land the landing craft. The landing craft, of course, can be destroyed if you want it to be destroyed. But yeah, you can then also have it take off and fly off again. Now, it only works for the landing craft. And I think that I will, for the first version, leave it as just a landing craft. But the modules may get renamed later down the line to where we can land an acclimator, to where we can land, what was it called, the hard cell ship, to where we can land the landing craft, of course, but maybe also different ships. So you can land a whole host of ships. Fighters can also be spawned from the capital ships. Of course, I had to sneeze. Fighters can also be spawned from the capital ships, even if they are moving, by using the deploy hangar aircraft. We place this on the proxy, or the Gozanti dock in this case. And here we can say, okay, we want to deploy aircraft from a certain faction, the Republic, or from the Confederacy, and we can say how many we want to spawn. It is predefined, or the hangar amounts are predefined in its settings for the module. So, for example, the Providence has 4, the Dreadnought Providence has 10 hangars, so it can spawn 10 aircraft at a time. Now, the side of these fighters will be the same side as the ship is. So if the ship is blufor, the fighters that will spawn are also blufor. If the ship is opfor, then it will be opfor. If the ship is greenfor, the fighters will be greenfor. Or if they are civilian, they will spawn as civilian. So in this case, we are going to spawn 4 regular vulture droids. Let's see where they are, and here we see them all flying out. It's a bit unfortunate they collided. The distance between the positions in the hangar is, one hangar is here, the other hangar is here. It's just unfortunate that they collided mid-air, but they shouldn't really collide. Maybe I need to change the angle a little bit so they fly out away from each other. But that is something for me to fix, not for you to worry about. The Venator has 3 hangars, one on this side, one right here, and another one on this side. Even though it has the bottom hangar available to the ship as well, I do not actually have this set up as a hangar from which an aircraft can spawn. And yes, technically the Venator has plenty of runway, so you should be able to spawn more. I'm just gonna leave it at 3 hangars, 1, 2 and 3, because if I spawn or have several in a line right here, I can tell ya that it is going to cause issues where aircraft are going to collide midair. That's something you don't want to have. This acclimator is a custom one, but this, like any other acclimator from Legion Studios, has 2 hangars on either side from which aircraft spawn. The Diamond class I have set it up with 2 hangars, even though they are technically the engines. This is a hangar and this is a hangar, basically. And there are other ships in there as well. For example, I have the Quasar. Let me spawn in a Quasar. Where is it? Here. We're going to set it at 1 kilometer altitude. Other ships that we can spawn that have a hangar, obviously, acclimators. The Venators have a hangar. Magnificent has 2 hangars. The Regicent does not have a hangar. The Providence has 4, the Providence Dreadnought has 10, the Quasar has 4. The Stealth Ship does not have any. The Light Cruisers don't have any. The Corvette doesn't have any. The Administrator class has 2. And the Lander does not have any. So you have quite a few ships you can choose from for deploying aircraft. In this case we are now going to spawn a civilian Magnificent at 500 meters. There it is. Here we have the Quasar. Ooh, ever slightly colliding with the Dreadnought. Or the Providence at least. Turret positions and stuff still have to change. I will put the turrets probably up here or under the nose right here somewhere. Or even under here. And you can see this Magnificent is a civilian. Now I am experimenting with the inverted turrets from 3AS, but I've unfortunately found out that these turrets have an issue. For example, if you look in them, they can only point down this far. But now look what happens if I point up. So yeah, I think that is a bit broken still. That is something that needs to be fixed. But that's not on my side, that is on the 3AS side. So I'm not entirely certain what cannons I shall use for this. But that is something for me to figure out as well. Besides that, I have tried the proton cannon, the JT or J1, what is it? Proton cannon. And this will probably work quite well for ship-to-ship combat later down the line. I also have the normal upright turret. If you control this, obviously you can point the same amount down and the same amount up, basically. And then I have another turret inverted. This has 2 hangars. One right here and one on the opposite side, flying out from the ship. Technically the Magnificent is supposed to have a hangar with room for 48 vulture droids, but I do not exactly know where in canon and stuff the hangar is supposed to be, so I've just made it my own guess and said this is where they exit from, even though obviously you can see there's no hangar door here. So yeah, that is what I've been working on. Also I can set the altitude, I can change the altitude. So if the altitude I want to change of the ship is 500, I can set it to 1 kilometer and starts racing up, and same If it is already at the altitude of 1 kilometer and you want it to go lower to 500 meters, then you can also change it that way. So yeah, that is what I've been working on in the past few days. I'm quite happy with how it works so far. The next thing that I will have to do is set up the turrets properly. I will have to go in and redo my hangar definitions, because I have accidentally placed the hangar positions in the wrong locations. And after that I can actually start doing a multiplayer test with my friends to see how it will perform on the server and if it is actually viable to release. If it is viable to release, then you will hear about it soon, because I also then want to test it out with maybe more people to make sure it works properly and it is not too heavy. Because right now there are a lot of scripts in the background. I just don't know how heavy they are for servers with big amounts or with a lot of people. Well, anyhow, thank you for watching. Hope you like to see the progress on these capital ships. And if you want to see more or hear more or see more updates, join my Discord, and that's where I will post these updates as well. Anyhow, thanks for watching. See you next time.